The field. Every neighborhood has one. Grass, concrete, or dirt. The stage is the same. The rules, unwavering. And the goals, beautiful.
It goes in! Improbable scenes!
It's where the dream begins to achieve the ultimate victory.
The underdogs have prevailed once again!
One cup, open to all.
There is a celebration in Orlando.
Now, America's oldest soccer tournament is back.
Oh, it's incredible!
The field doesn't care if you're a pro or trying to be one. It only asks, how bad do you want it?
It's unbelievable!
The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
A winner-take-all tournament gives us the perfect environment for upsets up and down the grid. Lamar Hunt Open Cup starts round 3 today with Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC taking on Maryland Bobcats FC. And hello everyone, with Devin Kerr, I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us on Bleacher Report. Where Devin, it's a battle of attrition for Pittsburgh, so you know if you're Bob Lilly, you must be on high alert.
They're ready, and they understand that even through rotation, this is a game that they expect to win. But friendly reminder, a ton of action in Open Cup. 8 games tonight, 24 on the round overall in the next 2 days.
So 108th edition, they've been around for quite a minute. But an interesting note here where you don't get necessarily the MLS, the USL Championship teams in rounds 1 or 2, but finally some of them come along in rounds 3 and eventually in round 4.
The big boys, right, coming back around in the USL Championship squad. MLS, remember, they're entering in the 3rd round. The rest, we have to see how the next 2 days play themselves out, and then we will have the draw on Thursday afternoon at 2 Eastern time, which will see the remaining teams join all the winners we've seen through the last couple of games.
So there's a lot of talent on the pitch here tonight, but you've circled a couple different players, one of them for the home team and Robbie Mertz.
I already mentioned for you that for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and it's a prelude to what's going to be a ton of rotation within this team. So when you get into these games and you have players that are used to coming off the bench, you got to rely on someone. Robbie Mertz is that guy. It doesn't matter if he plays deep, outside on the wing, pushes the tempo up high. He can lead you, and he's seen so much at both the USL Championship and MLS level, as has Darwin Espinal, who has represented Honduras at the international level. This is another guy who positionally, when it comes to attackers on that front line, his left foot, play him up high in the nide, outline on the wing. He can do really whatever you need. Games like this, you need your playmakers to show up. Espinal can be that guy for Maryland.
Amongst the starters here tonight, Alexander Sutton in net for Maryland. If there's going to be an upset here in this contest, you know Sutton's got to be the go-to guy in net for Maryland.
It's also going to be one of those things, how long can you hang around? Now, notoriously, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they don't put up a ton of goals. They lost off-season talent to other teams. So now, are they going to sit back and defensively just try and hold on with new players on the field? Do not let Maryland hang around, because they're the type of team, get 30, 40 minutes into this game, they'll get belief, they'll come and sting you.
And one of the beautiful things with the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is you do not have only full time to decide a winner. If this contest is expired at the end of 90 minutes with a draw, go to extra time, then eventually penalties can decide the winner, and that winner will go on to round number 4. This is a revenge match, though, between these two squads. Maryland got beat last year by Pittsburgh. 2-0 was the final on that one. But for Bob Lilly, Devin, one of the guys that he had circled was Darwin Espinal. He felt like that's the guy he has to mark, otherwise he'll burn you.
And Darwin's seen a little bit of everything, right? So attacking-wise, mentioned what it should look like for him on this front line, no matter where he's employed, but whether it was with the Tampa Bay Rowdies and New York Cosmos and NASL. Spent a brief amount of time with Detroit City prior to their entrance into the USL Championship, and then most recently he has been with the Maryland Bobcats for the last 18 months or so, as well as representing his country. There's a lot of admiration for what Darwin's capable of. Just watch that left foot. Set piece opportunities. When lower division teams come in, a lot of times coaches will just go, you know, we watch video, this, that, and the other. Bob Lilly's very well aware of that specialist on the left-hand flank and what he's capable of.
And from Tegucigalpa, Honduras, family moved to Washington, D.C., later on moved to Florida, so he's been around the block, if you will. Christian Gardner in net here today for Pittsburgh, getting his 2nd start of the season. Product of Northwestern University and also Boston College, where he excelled there at the Division I level of college athletics. Breaking out wide, Shawani. Shawani lost possession. A nice play by Maryland defensively, but they gave it right back. Biasi. Patrick Hogan amongst the starters. He's appearing now in the 7th match here in 2023. He's been awfully active. An early on touch there for Sutton. Sutton from New York, New York. Had his fun at the collegiate level as well. He was listed as a 2022 All-Patriot League member. Played in USL League 2. 17 matches during his collegiate year, his final season as a senior. You know, Devin, this is such an interesting element in where we're at with the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Unlike the regular format of an MLS schedule, USL Championship, League 2, it's an opportunity for some of the amateurs, if you will, and some of the programs and teams that are at lower levels to come up and bite somebody. And they can do it in a perfect environment where you have a USL Championship or an MLS team playing multiple times within a 7-day period.
Yeah, and I would take it a step further that regionally, when you're fortunate enough, like the Maryland Bobcats, where this is a stone's throw, right, to get to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, as opposed to some of the games we've seen where you're talking 1,000 miles travel, right? So the fact that you're a little bit closer, some fans will travel with you. And remember, David, it's also an audition, because in plenty of years past, we've seen some of these lower division teams, amateur clubs, they go to the pro squads. Coaches are paying attention. You never know who's watching. So anybody from the Bobcats, although you're already at a professional level, who wouldn't want to continue to step up the pyramid into the championship, get an opportunity to go make some noise at another level? And that is something to keep an eye on for guys that can step up and make a name for themselves tonight.
And the beautiful thing, if you do make some headway, there's also that prize money that's monumental for some of the lower tiered teams that are a part of the U.S. Open Cup. So that prize money is something that can go a long way for an organization. James Fillerman here from Vienna, Virginia. Played his college ball at Old Dominion. Second team All-Conference USA as Hogan was forced out there. Match is just underway in the 5th minute. Glad you can be here with us on Bleacher Report. And it's even better to see this from a bird's eye view, Devin, because you have been covering not only USL Championship, NISA, but also the MLS as a whole. So you get a grander view than many of people across the land as that shot is slicing wide and out of play.
Just trying to figure out what time zone and what day it is.
Fair enough.
Right? I mean, it's certainly, as you mentioned, a privilege to get an opportunity to lay eyes on so much talent nationwide. Though a little ration of sleep might not hurt at this point in time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw you unpack some of your gear, and all it was a passport and a boarding pass for a couple different cities.
I brought a granola bar.
Oh,
so, you know, I got to stay healthy. We're good. We're good.
Maybe some Pedialyte in the bag. Sutton coming up quickly. It's the second touch of the day for him. Not a lot of players that are playing at the Division I level here for Maryland. Some the Division II, 1 AA. But they got the experience. Fillerman outside, trying to make a move, and he's cut off. Pittsburgh in their dark uniforms today. Maryland, the red and white. Nothing yet on target for either squad. There's Bob Lilly. Bob had a couple interesting points, not only about Maryland, but also his club. And keep in mind with Pittsburgh, the season's so young for the Eastern Conference members of the USL Championship. They sit 2-2-3 in a troubling loss a few days ago against El Paso, but he feels like as a club, they've just missed opportunities, especially against Tulsa a few weeks ago. That was a scoreless draw, but they've had chance after chance after chance. They just have not been able to manufacture much offense yet.
One of the biggest assets that Bob Lilly, as a manager, brings to his teams, whether it have been at his former stop in Rochester, of course now with Pittsburgh Riverhounds for so long, is consistency. And that's something that's really eluded him, honestly, since the 2021 USL Championship season. Great tackle there by Jimmy Filerman. And so, you know, they also lost a ton on the attacking side. Russell Cicerone goes to Sacramento Republic. Alex Dixon to Monterey. So when they're getting themselves into situations like this, defensively it's been good, some good goalkeeping, but moving forward, the expectation of one-on-one situations where you can attack in the final 20 to 25 minutes, it's got to be better. And that's where they've really struggled so far. Everywhere else, he's pretty happy with. But eventually, you just got to start scoring some goals.
No doubt about it. There's a handful of teams in the USL Championship that have been laboring offensively as that shot's going to go over the net into the stands. Tampa Bay is one of them. Miami FC is another. But of course, you get the usual suspects that are still up there amongst the top of the leaderboard. San Antonio, Lou City, Sacramento's been sharp. You mentioned Alex Dixon recorded a hat trick in his season debut with Monterey Bay. Did that against Hartford. And for Bob Lilly, he's not going to have everything out there on the pitch here today. He'll be moving some pieces around the board, mix and match, and then make sure plenty of guys are able to recuperate over the next couple days, because they do have a date over the weekend with Indy 11 on the 29th. Pittsburgh on the approach here. That shot on goal just misses as Sutton had a beat on it. That shot just going wide by a couple feet.
Like the little pinch inside, though. Notice how patient the turn is. Up top, coming back in. It's well done by Philowomidas. Pinch over, and with that little slide, you start to open up the top of the box with the movement. That's one thing that, for the Riverhounds, got to be careful of here. Given the opportunity, as mentioned, coming in to showcase to your manager what you're capable of. A lot of the players you're seeing right now, utility in nature, so you're talking 15, 20 minutes, 25 tops in terms of what an appearance normally looks like. Don't push yourself too much out of your comfort zone. You've been given your orders, and they know exactly what the game plan is. Possession, you've given an opportunity, try and play back over the top quickly. But the second the ball's turned over, pin in. Just trust everybody that's around you.
You know, in a situation like this, Devin, are you more inclined, if you're Maryland, to play more loose, maybe play a little bit more cavalier with the ball to see if you can put Pittsburgh on edge?
If I'm Maryland, I'm taking whatever's given to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to be that kind of day. With all due respect to them, there's plenty of talent. You never know how much you're going to have it when you're matched up against a team like the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and you're on the road, and the fans are against you. So you're kind of looking around going, how do we play? Yeah, take whatever's given to you. There are going to be times within a game where it's not going to go to plan.
Right.
Your manager will have said, we're going to chase here, we're going to try apply pressure there. If it doesn't go that way, you don't panic. So if presented the opportunity to play quickly, do it. If it's going to be from a set piece, absolutely. Anything that it takes to get a result.
Here's Robbie Mertz. Talked about him at the top of the show. That one played through, but a nice job by Sutton to come out and grab it off his line. Sutton just 22 years of age. Maryland played only a couple games so far. They advanced here to the third round, beating Ocean City 3-2 was the final score in that contest. A match in which they were down a couple different times, forced the extra session, and eventually found the winner. Philip Brown was the hero in that one, scored in the 123rd minute. But they come in with a goal differential of +5, albeit only a couple games old during their regular season. Espanyol, a couple goals so far. It was a physical match between the two squads. Ocean City's Caleb Jackson had a couple yellow cards. Richard Forks, a red card of his own in the 39th minute. So you go from 11 on 11 to 10 on 10. Plenty of real estate and ground to cover. Temperatures at first touch tonight, 56 degrees, but a comfortable day for ball. '13th minute here, no real shots on target just yet. Biasi trying to find Mertz. Pittsburgh trying to get to the 4th round for the first time since 2019. One of the interesting things for Maryland is after today's contest, unlike Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh will play in a few days, Maryland's not back to work until the start of May. So they can empty the tank, if you will. And for Pittsburgh, they got to be a little cautious because of league play that's on tap. Filerman with the throw in. Koye wanted to get it back. Harmon through some traffic. DZ doing a good job there to win it.
In this area right here, just watch the shape overall from Maryland Bobcats. Wivel and Espinal just coming. As they come deep, they're almost pinching too much, which is allowing space on the interior to play. It's not even an outlet ball. It's just a link up, play in, play through, and then it's easier to get to the other side and play around. Obviously not a massive amount of success, but that ball right there, you come too deep and all of a sudden the space just on either shoulder of Caleb Pritchett opens up, makes it easier, not easy, to retain possession. Notice Robbie Mertz checking now, that little spot right there. They're slow to react to that. When you come too deep, you're allowing the midfielders of Pittsburgh Riverhounds to get on the ball, allow them to dance back and forth and try and find a way to push you out of your form.
We're trying to attack right now and put some pressure on Sutton. This one volleyed away at the last second. Mertz settling it down out wide. Blowing a tire, trying to get up, falling. Did just that. Fans, make sure you dive deeper into the thrills of drama of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Join the conversation on Twitter and Instagram at Open Cup and on Facebook at Official Open Cup. At the same time, you can always engage with Devin on places to eat. I know you're always asking those questions, whether you're traveling around the local cities here in a roundabout way of whether it's Charleston, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Austin.
And here's my thought process on that. There are a ton of websites out there that can help lead you, right?
Yes.
But that's also a lot of people that travel to those locations. I want the local knowledge, right? I want to know if I walk out my door, what are my peeps doing? Where are you guys headed? So it's great to engage with the local communities. Everybody's been so kind to say maybe lead me to the local watering hole and let me know what sort of lemon to get in my water.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Do you lean on the locals more for the food or the adult beverages?
No, it's definitely the food.
Okay, fair enough.
Delta does such a good job of keeping me hydrated.
Well played. 17th minute here. Fans' engagement always appreciated online, so make sure you continue to do that. Shots right now, nothing doing on either side. Possession's favored, though, on one end to Pittsburgh. Get a good look at Espinal there. signed by Tampa Bay Rowdies back in 2014. And they remember the NASL. Maryland the attack here. Espinal could not get to it. Nice pick off though. Biasi with a jump on it. Pittsburgh advanced into the third round via forfeit from Rochester. So a bit of a break for Bob Lilly's group. He'll take what he can get. Last year did have a member of the USL Championship advance to the title bout. Sacramento did just that.
We had a couple of League One clubs that turned some heads as well. Greenville Triumph taking down Oakland Roots. Their journey, of course, would be stopped by Charlotte FC in MLS as Union Omaha from League One. Took down a couple of MLS squads, including the Chicago Fire, before Sporting Kansas City said, "Your night's done." Dream's always there, right?
Yeah.
We'll call it open for a reason.
You know, something that we were talking about just off the record before we came on today about certain teams qualifying or being in certain rounds, the opportunity for next pro teams to participate, the independent clubs.
What fans need to remember too, and if they don't, we can make a more beautiful ball.
Espinal, the cross, that one broken up nicely by Pittsburgh. They try to switch the pitch. That one picked off though. That strike, one hopper on the way to Gardner, and he'll gobble it up.
It's not a bad idea, excuse me, from Gonzalez though. Little crack from distance, but where I was going with that, David, was people don't recognize the fact that this tournament actually starts the previous year in the fall. And that's when qualifying starts. And especially for the lower division and amateur clubs, you're talking September. So tournament proper really starts in September. Well, guess what? It's going to finish in late August, early September. So it's a whole year. So you go through the qualifying process until you reach tournament proper, which is overall round one. But before that, NPSL, UPSL, sectional qualifying, national championships, all of this stuff, a lot of these guys, not the Maryland Bobcats, but a lot of guys involved in Open Cup, it is truly a year-long journey. Not everybody has the luxury of some of the professional teams like NISA, USL Championship, League One, and MLS, where they get the coast through to the second or third round. These guys are doing the dirty work.
Yeah. The challenging part about all that, too, is there's just no guarantees that same personnel that helped you do the grunt work in August and September is going to carry over into the new calendar year.
We've already seen some of those teams. Your Westchester United SCs out of Pennsylvania, Bavarian, which is a very well-known amateur club historically.
Falling out wide. Here's Harmon. DZ trying to make a move, nicely done. Held up for a brief moment. We have some contact there. DZ with a spirited effort here in the 21st minute.
The Ocean Shitty Nor'easters, all that does is it adds a little bit more to it because some of the chemistry lacking. You're already seeing that 25 so minutes into this match because that little touch is just off. Well, that's a good look at it on the slide back over. Jimmy Filerman in the contact with DC Harmon. DC known for his speed, trying to get him one-on-ones, and for Pittsburgh as well. You can just see some of the sequences. These guys aren't together every single day. So some of the touches are off, the movements you're not used to. All of this takes time. Question is whether or not you're going to be able to come to terms with what this should and is going to look like within the 90-minute realm. Can you get a result doing so?
Let's see what Mertz dials up here. Good set piece from just outside the 18. Mertz on delivery. That one headed away and nicely done. Easter is the one that broke it up. Like the Shields gave that one away. And now we got a foot race here developing. Hogan trying to accelerate, and he gets back in the nick of time. Espinal. Pittsburgh so far during the regular season, a goal differential of only +1. Scored 7 times in the year, conceded 6. But their loss to El Paso was the 3rd time they've been blanked in 7 matches this year for Bob Lilly. Don't imagine it, but Albert Diqua amongst the usual suspects doing damage for Pittsburgh. 4 goals on the year so far. Bernardo Forbes has also scored. Falling has also found the back of the net. Harmon goes down here.
And Pablo is happy for anybody to step up and help Albert Diqua out. Reminder that we lost Dixon, we lost Cicerone. Really the biggest key to this entire cog that has gone down was Danny Griffin, who took off to Huntsville and MLS Next Pro. He just did so much for this squad. The deep lying positions that he was in, the balls that he was able to win, but then go ahead and distribute forward so rapidly. Not that it needed to be a counter-attacking team, but to just bridge the level quickly to provide more options. That was the biggest piece that's going to hurt this team. So attacking-wise, yes, you want help for Albert Diqua for sure, but there is talent there. The question is going to be on the inside. Can Canaro Forbes and Robbie Mertz, can they share that burden for how long? But then who's going to step in and help them? Because the supporting cast up top, it's not going to be an issue there. It's going to be the trailing runs, the 3rd and 4th runner. They're going to be able to help this team find success.
You mentioned the distribution. They had 15 different goal scorers last year, Pittsburgh did. That kind of balance is phenomenal, albeit Diqua scored 11 times in the year. But the engagement is so much more than 1 or 2 players. Plenty of body contact. It's a great check there. Mertz goes down. A good turn deserves another. Vetzlut on the breakup. Mertz. Falling was out wide to the right. Show on me. Was looking for that pass and was broken up. Espinal. Darwin will slow things up. Other match that's going on right now, Charleston and Charlotte underwent the 23rd minute, no score.
We got a ton of tasty fixtures tonight, huh? Minnesota at Detroit, thank you very much. South Georgia Tormenta gonna try and apply their trade. Ian Cameron and the League One champions on the road at Charlotte FC. Hartford Athletic in the Northeast region against New England Revolution. Union Omaha, they were the world beaters last year. Different coach, different personnel on the road against the debutantes in MLS. St. Louis City SC. I'm not sure I'm going to make the 10 o'clock game. Might be past my bedtime.
I don't know. You say 10 o'clock, I say 7 o'clock Pacific.
Attaboy.
Falling. Can't get to it in time. So first thing I thought was Nate Steinwash is going to have himself a busy night if he's in net for Detroit. They've not had a good ability of providing some offensive support for their keeper. Pritchett peels back on this. So much action today. We have more of it tomorrow. The U.S. Open Cup continues tomorrow night. More than a dozen matches will be streamed live for you. Wednesday's coverage kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern as Lou City winds up the Ohio River to tackle FC Cincinnati. And the fun doesn't stop around until later on in the night. Portland Timbers, they host Orange County SC at 10:30 Eastern. Visit usopencup.com for the full schedule and links to watch more matches. All that and then some here in round number 3. Harmon out wide's got some real estate. DZ Harmon pulls the trigger. That one is airmailed.
Maryland doing a much better job of possessing the ball, but then they're forcing it, and these giveaways are costing them. You start to advance some of your personnel up higher. There's space in behind that can quickly be played into DZ Harmon. The touch does get away from him a little bit, but I'll tell you what, Jimmy Filerman gets away with a little bit of contact on DZ Harmon. The momentum itself leaning away for the outside midfielder. Pretty fortunate there. You certainly should have done better and put it on target at least.
Shots right now are 3-2 in favor of Pittsburgh. Harmon falling both there. Falling with possession now. And Mertz, that quick touch though to Lopez. That line, Pittsburgh looking to pursue. That one broken up on the way through. A nice touch right there. Coistra putting that one out of harm's way. Abdul with a good beat on it for Maryland. That backline support for Alex Sutton. Looks like Pittsburgh just leaning a little bit more on Maryland. At the break, we'll have some stats and some highlights for you. Take a look at the entire scoreboard of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Live here from Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A little bit of a cloudy Tuesday night. Glad you can hang out with us, though. These two teams lined up last year. Pittsburgh winning it 2-0. Toby Sims scored both goals in that contest. And so there's one thing that Bob Lilly does know, a familiar opponent, even though some of the pieces have changed. They are what they would say is a live dog in Maryland. Come up and bite you. Pittsburgh played their last match on the 22nd. So yes, a little bit of a rest. Go back to the grind. Here's Lopez to Mertz. Robbie. Falling here. Mertz out wide. Nice pass for Harmon. Harmon with some space inside. That shot just missed short side. Shoanmi would love to have a reprieve on that one. He had plenty of net and it didn't go on target.
You got to figure out, in your own opinion, what's better. This ball by Robbie Mertz, 30-yard diagonal. That touch right there by DZ Harmon. Standing foot, positive touch right in front of him. Beautiful movement by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Shoanmi's got to do better. It's a quick ball in, absolutely, but hit off your instep to the near post, you got to finish. You have to find a way to hit the target and beat the goalkeeper in that situation.
So you can earmark that for something later on this contest, should the score stay at what it is. I have to say the chances will be far and few, but they haven't been frequent for Pittsburgh, especially in this first half for a team that's not had their fair share of goals in 2023. Keep in mind they did not need to play in round number 1, did not play in round number 2, advanced via forfeit. An important note for Bob Lilly, happy to get some of the guys that aren't regular starters game action, some reps, and some valuable minutes. Hogan. Shields gave that ball nearly away. Koya wanted to go on a run there. Biasi. Now Maryland trying to increase the pressure here. Shawunmi nearly blew a tire. Good job between two defenders making a nice move here. Koistra couldn't bite on it. Falling, that one off the left foot. Nearly into the stands, but again, the pressure continues for Pittsburgh.
And again, the first touch is everything. Right around, you get caught. Questra sitting flat-footed, not necessarily sure Burke Failing thinks he's going to be able to get on the end of this. It is a good run out of the midfield. Just slides to the back post, reads it quite impressively. But all of a sudden, past couple of minutes, the Riverhounds that were anemic starting to come to life.
Last season, Pittsburgh, 16 victories, 9 losses, 9 draws. But sharp as usual at home, 9-3-5 for Bob Blue's troops. Pittsburgh has enjoyed a great deal of success under Bob Bluey, including a team goals against average at sub-1 at .95. You're gonna win more often than not if you get any kind of firepower on your side. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference last year, plus 12 goal differential. But as you mentioned, though, Devin lost a handful of players. Dane Kelly moved on to Charlotte. And despite their record at 2-2-3, they've also been a little weary. 7 of their first 9 matches during the regular season are on the road. To Shields, looking for Harmon again. DZ, good job settling it, holding his ground. Just couldn't get to it. See the skill there. Biasi not happy with the call.
It's good defending, though, by Jimmy Filerman to recognize the fact that he needed some help. Same exact ball that we've seen 3 separate times now. That diagonal ball, 30, 35 yards. What it's doing outside of stretching the field is it's asking more communication from the back line from the Maryland Bobcats. Guys to start to slide over. The way that the midfield's situated, Paucient just sitting down underneath, but Akinkoye and Manuel Gonzalez have to doing a lot of shifting back and forth defensively in general, yet alone when they start pinging these long balls. And with the speed that DZ Harmon has, Pittsburgh right now, they like the matchup out on this right-hand flank.
Get a good look at Alex Cal. Member of this team, not only as the head coach, but also as a player. He's been with the team since 2019. Helping them win a UPSL Fall 2019 National Championship. Falling here with some space, he shoots it, a great save by Sutton. First test of the night for Sutton, and he passes it.
Hey, good positioning. Watch the feet of the goalkeeper. Once again, the advancement of Burke Failing, just pushing back through. I like the touch back across, but if you watch Alex Sutton, he doesn't really take the bait. It's perfect from the goalkeeper. One step to his right, stays centrally located, and then allows himself, regardless of where the ball ends up going, to make a play, and it just happens to be back across his body. Reads it perfectly.
Failing with some good space there, and made up for the previous attempt on a cross that he just had go off the left foot. That one was able to square up. So Failing's bid denied by Sutton. As we continue on the 37th minute. 7 shots to just the 2 for Maryland. The dangerous portion of all that configuration, 5 of the 7 shots for Pittsburgh have been inside the 18. Failing's bid there was denied. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but Devin, score stays as is through 45 minutes of play. Do you anticipate Bob Lilly going to his bench?
Not yet. He'll let these guys have a bit longer of a leash, just because he needs to know, outside of what they're going to do in this game, he needs to be able to trust them in domestic league play as well. So I mentioned earlier how it was an audition for some of the lower level players. It's the same thing for guys in the USL Championship and Bob Lilly right now with the Hounds, that you got to give your manager something to think about.
Yeah.
If a player goes down because of injury, I'm an asset. You can use me. If we have to go rotation because we got 2 games in 4 days, you have to be able to rely on those players. So 45 minutes, I don't expect him to make a change at halftime. But you hit that 60-minute mark and we see pretty much the same, you better believe there's going to be new players.
Healing to Failing, and Failing just couldn't get enough power on it. That's it's interesting that you do say that as we look back at this. Failing again. Sutton able to gobble it up. .39th minute. Again, like put a button on that too, Devin. It's interesting because the 45 minutes will tell you one thing, but you're still playing for keeps if you're Bob Lilly.
Of course, yeah. But the other side is well done once again, Filerman. So Pittsburgh, yes, you are still trying to find a way to get a result, but you have to trust.
Yeah.
If this was something in later rounds, first of all, this wouldn't be the lineup. That's going to be a card.
It's a pretty good tackle. Poseidon. I'll tell you what, right tackle, wrong sport. I mean, that's an obvious booking here in the 40th minute.
Jocelyn Postian, just the way that he pulls from him, the captain, he reads it well defensively to come back over, but then he recognizes that he's overstepped a little bit. He's trying to get on the backside of it. There's no reason whatsoever to commit the foul. If he just stays on the inside shoulder, he's fine. Even if you come back over the outside of the player, defensively, Questra was right there. So you've got a 2v1. Instead, your frustration of not being on the ball as much, because this team wants to be ball dominant, and having to chase so much, it gets the best of you. And you've gifted Pittsburgh a real good opportunity right here, especially with some of the big guys on the back line to step up from a set piece.
See how the delivery is here. Shawunmi couldn't hit that flush. Sutton came off of his line, followed around. It's about a broken play as anything, almost landed up in Maryland's own net. Biasi did a good job of fending off Pritchett. Oddly enough, look at that score. Detroit City FC 1-0 over Minnesota. It's early in the 8th minute, but nevertheless, that is quite a surprise.
A Z Matthews sighting. 5 minutes into the match. Not if you're at Keyworth, it's not a surprise. Tell you what, man, that place, if it's a rockin', Adrian Heath finding out with Minnesota United, maybe shouldn't come a knocking. What's interesting is that they dominated most of the opening 10 minutes within that game. Although, in case you didn't know, you got to play 90 to get the result. So, you know, Matt doesn't check out just yet.
They played in blocks, if you will, and it's a good start for Detroit. Take what you can get, especially with them laboring this season. Las Vegas getting blasted the other day by Miami FC. They're one of only a couple teams that were undefeated in USL Championship. Set piece for Maryland here in close proximity. You'll see if they can do anything with it. straight with that lead over Minnesota. They're 1-5-1 during the regular year. This one played through. Shawunmi mishit it. That shot goes over the net by just a whisker. Akinkoye was the one that had a right foot on it.
Looked like he just got caught in between two minds because he jumps if you watch him, and then on the missed time right there, notice he doesn't follow through. Almost the hesitation in his mind of whether or not he's actually going to be able to get to it. And the problem is his hips are open. His hips are open, his right leg has come up, so the only movement he has is to come through on the instep. If he's standing foot, left leg on the ground, side volley laces bottom corner, and it's 1-0. You've stolen one just before halftime.
Foul here against Sports. That's a good eye right there. Best chance of the night for Maryland. Manny Gonzalez. Filerman gave that one up. So I have some scores, some highlights, some stats in this contest. Look around Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, third round edition, of course. Pittsburgh holding a decent sized lead in the possession category, 56-44. Harmon, legal touch there. Everybody in the stadium knew that. Shots are 9-3. Now, you've been to some of these primetime venues, Devin. Where does Highmark Stadium stack up with everybody else?
I love this stadium.
Yeah.
It's the best. You know, right across the river. Union Square is just off the backside of it, and actually there's a beautiful running path at the top of your screen.
Yeah.
Just between the stadium and the water, a little 5K that takes you across the bridge right into downtown. Bob Lilly, his staff, everybody, the offices on the left side of your screen. Steel City's fun one, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great people. My dad's from northwest of Pittsburgh, so spent some good times here.
Harmon to Lopez. Failing. He's had chances, can't split the defense there. Harmon goes down. That'll result in a foul. This really wasn't any kind of embellishment there.
And the cutback across, right at the top of the 18 onto the right side, was what gave them an opportunity to keep this alive.
Gonzalez with the yellow card there.
Manuel Gonzalez talking his way into it, but the cutback across, and if you watch the back line, everybody's just starting to shift, failing once again. It's a beautiful slide through, and it's a foul. There's no doubt about it. There's not a ton of contact, but there's enough. It's a good little roll by DZ Harmon. Takes it on the underside of his boot. If he goes with his instep, he's probably not going to get there quick enough. But Manuel Gonzalez, a little bit late to the party. It's right in front of the referee. It is a foul. And all of a sudden, it's prime territory for the Hounds. Robbie Mertz. We talked about Darwin Espinal and what he's capable of on that left foot. Robbie Mertz, no slouch himself, off the right boot. How many you go with the wall? 5, possibly 6 if you really wanted to. And that's the conversation for Alex Sutton. Real good bird's eye view of what he's dealing with. The question you have to deal with now is, does he try and get cute and get up and over to the near post, or do you hit it with pace and a little bit of bend and bring it all the way back across the keeper's body to go to the far post side?
Well, you got Mertz there failing. DZ Harmon to his right. Shawunmi pushing and shoving, failing. Let's sit and rip. That one hits the wall. Rebound won't come either, back to him. Only a minute of stoppage time. And that'll be that. So 45 minutes in the books here from Pittsburgh.
Maryland Bobcats.
Hounds not doing anything offensively just yet, but they've created some chances. And for Bob Lilly, feels like it's only a matter of time.
But if you're Maryland, you're happy.
Yeah.
You kept it 0. You gave yourself 1, maybe 2 half chances, albeit from distance, but you're in this game. Bob Lilly's going to walk into the dressing room and say, it's not good enough, got to be faster. If you don't want to get the job done, I got all the starters on the bench that'll come and help us out, so don't be afraid to express yourself. But if you're the Maryland Bobcats, you got to have belief and positive conversation in the locker room. You got 45 minutes to go and steal this thing. You're right where you want to be.
End of the first half of action here from Highmark Stadium. No score yet between Maryland and Pittsburgh. More to come on the other side.
Pounds in Sacramento, what do you say we take this down to Station Square and party all summer? See you down there.
You heard it from the old two-nighter himself. Catch the third member of our Pittsburgh Celebrity Series, Phil Ward, at the Hounds game in Sacramento on July 8th. Get your tickets on the app or online at riverhounds.com/tickets.
I am here with Aiden and Andy. They're going to play a little game with us here at halftime. We're going to play some soccer golf. So you guys are going to try to kick the soccer balls into each of the hula hoops on the field. The winner of this competition will be the one to score on our lovely mascot ammo down there. We have some signed merchandise for the winners. We have a signed bumper sticker and a signed towel by Hounds Captain Canardo Forbes. Are you guys ready? All right, soccer balls down. Here we go. All right, Aiden's going to go first. Go ahead, Aiden. Oh, that was a little weak. Little weak, little more. All right, Andy, go ahead. All right, Aiden, go ahead. Oh, not quite. It ran down. Keep going. Oh, not quite. All right, Aiden. Not quite. All right, we're in. There we go, Andy. And Aiden's in as well. All right, Andy, you're next. We're going all the way across the field now. Oh, that's a good one. That's pretty close. Oh, boy. That one might have been too hard. All right, Andy's next. Andy's next. Here we go. Oh, it's in! He nailed it. All righty. Oh, that's weak. That's weak. All right, Andy, you got an advantage now. Don't squander it. That's a good one. All right. Go ahead, Andy. It's neck and neck right now, guys. Remember, first one to score on ammo wins. All right, Aiden. It's in. All right, Andy. Aiden, sorry. It's in. All right, Andy. It's your chance. This is for signed merch. Oh, he buries it. He buries it. Come on back over here. We got a Canardo Forbes signed towel and a Canardo Forbes signed bumper sticker for you. Congratulations. Great job.
I've been with the Riverhounds Academy for 9 years, and I've just signed a USL Academy contract with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. it's almost like a dream come true because I came here as a kid. I'd come onto the field after and get autographs from the players, and then now the fact that I could be one of those players that's signing autographs for younger kids that were almost like me in a sense is obviously crazy. And I'm genuinely grateful for this opportunity because it's going to help improve my abilities and the way I think and just helping me mature as a person and player. Obviously, I'd come to games and I'd see these pro players and I'd be like, I want to be here too. And then when Wyatt Borso signed a couple years ago, he was a young teenager, and that kind of opened my eyes and realized that I can do this too. If someone else my age can do this, I can come and do it as well, and especially since he was in the same club. And I felt that was now my goal. So playing for the Riverhounds Academy, they've always implemented technical abilities, and becoming a technical player is extremely important in the professional game and any parts of that aspect of the soccer game, because being technical, you're able to get out of more situations and you're able to almost think faster and you're able to carry out things that are going through your head. And I just feel like the academy has really helped me develop that aspect of my game. And being in the ECNL is an extremely high level, and it scouts watching you, coaches watching you all the time, and it helps you get used to the pressure of playing soccer, and then you're kind of just able to be more calm when you come in those high pressure situations and you're more confident in your abilities. I hope the academy kids can realize that I was in the same position as them a couple years ago. I just feel like it's great to have somebody to look up to and know that they came from this very similar position as you and that they can do it as well. Because if I can do it, I'm a kid from Pittsburgh, there are other kids from Pittsburgh, and if I can do it, they can 100% can as well. They just have to put in the work, and I hope that they can look at me and realize that.
To make some noise to get ready for the second half and get us over the line here against Maryland. What do you want? What are you doing? Well, like charades? You want to play charades right now? We don't have time for this, Emma. What are you doing? We got to get the team back out here. All right, we'll do one. Go ahead. All right, 2 words. It's a TV show. Okay. I don't know. Like a lasso? Like Ted Lasso? Ted Lasso. Okay, I got that. All right, one more. Okay. The air. All the stadium. Everyone. All of it. Everybody. I don't know.
And we're at the break right now with Devin Kerr. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for hanging out with us today on Bleacher Report. 3rd round action, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Today, the one score we have right now at Pittsburgh and Maryland, scoreless. Charlotte leading right now over South Georgia in the 25th minute. 1-0 is the score there. Charleston and Charlotte scoreless at the half. Detroit 1-0 over Minnesota in the 23rd minute. Detroit scored in the first 10 minutes of that contest. We'll see if Nate Steinwasser can hold up that advantage. Later on tonight, you get Monterey Bay FC and San Jose Earthquakes at 10 o'clock Eastern. Prior to that, St. Louis and Union Omaha. New England just scored as well. They lead over Hartford 1-0 in that affair. Tomorrow, what is on tap? Got an interesting one brewing in South Beach, Florida. Miami FC and Inter Miami CF. Inter Miami has lost 6 straight in MLS action. Miami FC just picked up their first win of the season over the weekend. Something has to give. Inter Miami won the matchup last year. We'll see if they can go back-to-back. Loudoun United, Flower City Union will also go toe-to-toe, 7 o'clock Eastern. Then we trail all the way into the 8 o'clock Eastern time zone. Chicago Fire, Chicago House AC. That'll be one of the nightcaps on the menu for us with 3rd round action, Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. As far as what we got here, Highmark Stadium has 2 teams, both scoreless right now. Devin and myself will have the first half highlights and stats right around the corner. We're watching the 3rd round action, Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, courtesy of Bleacher Report. Welcome back here to Highmark Stadium. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is the scene tonight. A Tuesday evening with Devin Kerr. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for hanging out with us. Devin, got to take a look at the first half highlights, the stats, and all of that, even in a scoreless matchup through 45.
Well, let's get this out of the way. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds were the better team in the first half in terms of possession. They had a ton of shots, absolutely, but they didn't have a ton in close proximity to challenge Alex Sutton. Case in point, good little turn back to the inside. Alex Sutton triggered from distance, but 20 yards out, couldn't test the goalkeeper. This was a lot of what we saw for the high round for the Maryland Bobcats. Any pressure that could be applied, it was a turnover uncharacteristically from guys like Robbie Mertz, hit with a hope and a prayer from distance, but to no avail. About the 25-30 minute mark, they started to do a much better job of spreading the field wide. Mertz again, Tony Lopez got involved in that. DZ Harmon, quick little cutback across. Shawonmi had to do better in this situation. 8 yards out, you got to hit the 8x8. And again, the most aggressive team in the first half was certainly the Hounds. On the cutback, another one from Burke Failing. But as mentioned, David, it doesn't really matter how much you have the ball, it's what you do with it. It's what we call purposeful possession. That's what Bob Lilly was going to talk to his team about in the dressing room at halftime. Because even though they had 11 shots, only 2 of them that Alex Sutton really had to make a move on. This was one, and you can see there's not a lot of momentum on the ball that's hit at him.
So the ideas and the intent were there for Pittsburgh. The lack of execution not there. The first half numbers, does this tell you anything different than what we saw on the tape just moments ago?
No, not at all. You saw a team that should be the superior team because of personnel and the quality of play in the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And you saw a Maryland Bobcats team that was holding on for dear life. I expect more out of both in the second half. The question is how much are Maryland going to be able to sustain before they break, if they break at all? If you can get this thing to the 55th, 60th minute, continue to push that a little bit, all you're looking for is one chance the other direction. That's all you need. Even if it's from a dead ball, a corner, you'll take whatever you can get.
Second half is underway with Pittsburgh moving from right to left on your screen. Maryland going from left to right. Speaking of wanting more, I think you've been summoned on Bleacher Report's YouTube channel. The live chat is asking for Devin Kerr. So there could be plenty of engagement as this night goes along.
These kids are going to have to teach me all the new technology to get me there.
In the day and age of social media, you got like 10 different apps at your fingertips. So it's all good. We'll get you some changes and substitutions as the night goes along too. More so for Pittsburgh than we imagined for Maryland. They've rolled with the same starting 11 that they deployed in their second round matchup. Giving way here, Sutton trying to cut off a corner. Showunmi was the intended target as that pass was broken up. DC Harmon, you look at him as we go right back to it.
Reminds me of the ball back across in the first half where DC Harmon was trying to pick out Burke failing. Positionally, Showunmi, a striker up top for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, just having a little bit of trouble right now figuring out exactly where he needs to be when that ball is being cut back across. The man from University of New Hampshire, drafted originally in 2022 by Atlanta United. Went back to school with Mark Hubbard, applied his trade for another year, picked up a couple of accolades, and then signed with the Hounds this season. He's lean, got a decent amount of speed to him. And the skill set, we've been told, is there. Certainly solid at the college level as you see some of his hold-up play, but he's having a little trouble right now figuring out in combination play how to link up with his teammates in the final third.
Well, he's got fantastic size at 6'3" and 200 pounds. And as you mentioned, Devin, just ripe old age of 22. He's just out of college. So you go from the amateur ranks, or at least it was the amateur ranks of Division I NCAA soccer to professional helm of USL Championship. You can't coach the size, and so now it's just about technique and finishing. Showunmi has had a couple different looks at target here tonight, courtesy of DZ Harmon. We speak so much about Pittsburgh and their inability to score. If you are Maryland, what kind of adjustments would you make heading into the second half?
Well, I mentioned defensively in the first half that with Wavell and Darwin Espinal, at times I don't want to see them as deep, and at times I'd like to see them a little bit higher. Now that may sound like it's contradicting itself, but much like the movement or lack thereof at times from Showunmi from Pittsburgh up top, you're expecting the same thing from the two guys that are playing really on the outside of either shoulder of Caleb Pritchett. So the timing has to be there. They're just allowing too much space, so it makes it easier for Pittsburgh to pick up possession. But then as you start to go the other direction, when they have had chances, too many one-offs, right? So you're applying yourself down into the corner, but you know, it's Espinal against Tony Lopez and Luke Biasi. When Wavell is coming back off, you know, Blackstock is doing a good job of locking that space down. DZ Harmon is retreating quickly. The outside defensively is much better suited for the space to play in behind quickly for Maryland, but they're not really jumping into it. They're almost over-accentuating the fact that they want to play possession. You don't necessarily have to.
Corner kick coming up here for Pittsburgh. Only had a couple of them in the first half. It's more of a credit to what Maryland did not do. Get themselves in a whole lot of trouble. And they continue to play well here defensively. Biasi lobs this one in. Showunmi was there. Lopez, he just missed hit it. Feels like there's a few players for Pittsburgh that need a mulligan.
Right, like how do you not get a boot on this? Even with the way the ball sits up. I mean, that drop right there, you know, you almost wonder as to whether or not he feels like Philip Brown is going to get a touch on this thing. But if you're Tony Lopez, that sits up nicely on the pitch. A lot of times it'll check weird on the turf. That's not what happened at all. It's set up just so right to drop that left shoulder, grab your laces on it, and hit it into the bottom corner.
As what you see, we see as well. The conditions here tonight, picture perfect for both clubs. But back then the approach again goes Pittsburgh, and that attempt fought off. Blackstock coming out wide with a good head of steam.
It's time for a Quantum Spirits corner kick. Show the Hounds your Quantum Spirit.
So Mertz again delivery here on this corner kick. Shots right now are 12-3 in favor of Pittsburgh. Mertz trying to add to it. That hitter again, a golden opportunity, just misses wide.
That's a rough angle. Rough angle there for the drop in. Robbie Mertz does a real good job at trying to pick out a runner on the back post, and very fortunate for Maryland that this doesn't end up in the back of their own net.
Yeah, Hogan was there. Showing me. He's failing, and they'll have to peel this one back. Like Biasi just went out on his own accord. Luke's okay now, though. As Mertz goes down, Espinal fighting for possession, can't win it. Bit of an overcommit there. That shot would not have counted had it gone in. Svetslut down on the deck. Take a peek at this again.
Caleb Pritchett, very fortunate not to be carded in the situation. Studs up the entire time, though he meant no malintent on Trevor Vetslut, the big striker for the Maryland Bobcats, having a little trouble with his own footing. Ball getting caught up underneath him.
Pritchett was good at the junior college level, played at Maryland Junior College, scored 23 goals in 21 contests, so he could certainly fill it up. There's talent on the pitch for Maryland up front, so as you had mentioned, Devin, the opportunities have not been there for them, but only needs one, failing with a nice move, keeping his footing. Harmon doing the same, failing. Pass is broken up. Minute. Bunch of other matches that are going on right now. St. Louis leading Union Omaha 1-0. New England 1-0 over Hartford. Keep you abreast of everything going on around the third round action of the U.S. Open Cup. Keep in mind a winner take all play-in situation. Not decided in full time. We'll go to extra time, then eventually penalties if no hero is found. Mertz on the touch back. Blackstock to Shields. almost at the same tune in the first half for Pittsburgh, trying to control the possession category. Failing here. Show on me, trying to settle it, can't. Certainly had a high volume of touches in this contest. But Devin, we're getting close to that time mark where you said, hey, if we get to 60, 65 minutes in this affair and it's still scoreless, you have to feel awfully good if you're Maryland.
You'll feel happy. The question's going to be as to whether or not Bob Lilly is going to share the same sentiment on the sideline, and certainly the answer is no. One would have to imagine that some of his assets in the corner being warmed up for possible release. Mark Ibarra added to the midfield, more than likely Albert Dikwa or Edward Kizza up top. One of your outside backs, Nato Santos, could certainly add some flair to the left back spot, and overlapping runs challenge some of the shape from the Bobcats. And how long will Alex Cal go with the guys on the field? There is some good rhythm at certain points in time. You don't want to disrupt it, but you've got to do more than what you're currently putting out to get a result and get a goal.
Espanyol trying to split two defenders. He does. Espanyol's dangerous. Espanyol does not need much real estate to hurt somebody. It's a spirited move, though, to get between two defenders for Pittsburgh. Blackstock there with a foul. Back to this attempt, though, for Maryland.
I told you, he prefers it on the left foot, but how's the little 2v1? Great cut back in, then watch his head. Eyes up the entire time, yes. He's got support of the back post. He's got to run to the near post, but with that much daylight, that's the best look he's gotten all game, so you can't fault him for trying to beat Christian Garner on the near post.
Langston with a yellow card here in the 57th minute. He's a former Division II college athlete. And there's getting your money's worth, and then there's not. Blackston would love to get more out of that push than just a simple shove. Nevertheless, a yellow card for him in the second half of this affair. Espanyol is that down, that strike broken up, but plenty of people from Maryland think that was a handball inside the 18. We'll take a look at that here in a brief moment. Awfully close. No VAR here.
Right there, that's really difficult to tell from that angle. Again, we're seeing exactly what you are, and hard to understand as to whether or not from that viewpoint it did come off the hand.
Patrick Hogan had the look of a guilty party on that occasion. But a big break for Pittsburgh if that was the case. We'll try to go back to it again, but regardless, Maryland trying to make the most of their opportunities here. Showanmi trying to flag it down, and he just can't. Poor throw-in from Biasi. Shots now 14-5 in favor of Pittsburgh. But 2-2 on target. Hogan. DZ Harmon falls on the deck. So now we are in the 60th minute. Devin.
Again, it's the left arm. I see it. Everybody's arguing from Patrick Hogan that the depth of which it's hit, though, is the problem. There's no doubt that it's contact. But if it's up against his torso, your argument's null and void.
Yeah.
That's what you have to understand here. The other thing is from that angle, again, I understand that it's one look. But from that angle, how high on the arm is it? Because you have to understand that it's the bottom portion of the forearm. So really, it's like the bottom portion of your armpit. Everything above that is still in play.
Yeah. So a couple chances in the first half for Pittsburgh to score. And one here in the second half for Maryland. Failing. Got a push. Moves on to Lopez. Tony. Blackstock trying to hold it in, and he can't. No substitutions yet for either side. 3 yellow cards in total. 2 for Maryland, 1 for Pittsburgh. Maryland last season 8-9-6. On the road they were 2-6-3. 30 points in ISA. Goal differential +4. It's their 3rd season in ISA. And first ever encounter with an opponent in the 3rd round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. So resume for Maryland's continuing to develop and grow. Pittsburgh trying to get back to years past. Sign losing some gear there. Again, with this matchup, Pittsburgh has to err on the side of caution when it comes to who they're going to use and who they're not. They play over the weekend on the 29th, where Maryland doesn't play until May the 13th against Flower City Union. So they get quite the break. Mike DeShields, who's on that back line for Bob, only his 2nd appearance of the season. Osayan. This one played around and through. Kinkoye, nice move, can't get around a 3rd wave of defense.
He's one coming out of the middle that's become much more aggressive in nature for the Maryland Bobcats in the second half. Manuel Gonzalez doing a good job dropping down next to Paulcian to cross out some of these central balls to allow Akinkoye to start to push up next to guys like Caleb Pritchett and Espinal on this attacking front. Again, they don't have a ton of opportunities, but definitely more positive in nature here, second 45 minutes.
Sutton fortunate to get away with that thing there. Garner here. Started the season opener for Pittsburgh. Second start of the year for him. Show on me. Easter dragged him down, but the officials say play on, fellas, and they do. Little break here for Pritchett, holding his ground, but no, little contact, and immediately fired that ball into the stands.
That's unfortunate for Caleb Pritchett because it looked as if Patrick Hogan was going to go to ground on his own. Little teasing ball up top, gets caught in behind. Whether or not he's actually going to lose his footing, that's a whole nother conversation. He did misplay it, Patrick Hogan, former Charleston Battery man, donning some similar colors since coming over on the other Eastern USL Championship squad, with he and Burke failing, and DZ Harmon, running mates that have come to in a different way from Bob Lilly.
Watch out here for Lopez. Easter again on a breakup. Just played well defensively for Maryland. He's been there from wire to wire for the road team.
This is a heck of a tackle. I mean, it's a beautiful ball by Robbie Mertzin and a great touch by Tony Lopez, but the recovery, absolutely magnificent for Croatia. That's a holding midfielder helping on the back line tonight next to Mansour, who positions himself so perfectly to close down the space, because that had 1-0 written all over it.
So 67th minute. Match trying to build up. Not a lot of fireworks just yet. See if Philip Brown can make an impact. Scored a goal in the second round against Ocean City. 123rd minute, with the difference making a 3-2 victory for Maryland. See at the break, New England over Hartford 1-0 there.
Not really a ton of surprises, are there? Justin Rennicks for New England Revolution. He grabs the goal there. St. Louis City 1-0. 21 minutes in. Charlotte 1-0. The MLS teams at this point in time doing their due diligence. Just Detroit City, the lower division squad, ahead at this point in time, although 2-0 nils.
Blackstock. Brown trying to navigate. Good job of Pittsburgh applying some extended pressure.
Fans, it's time for a Quantum Spirits corner kick. Show the Hounds your Quantum Spirit.
See how they deliver it here with Mertz. They've had more corner kicks in this second half than they did all of the first. 4, in fact, and counting. Show on me inside the 18. Hogan is also there. Lopez, Blackstock. See if anyone can do some damage. See DZ Harmon there. Not have an official announcement on a substitution, so we apologize. Not quite clear on the stoppage, but Alex Parent, the lead official tonight, says now let's go. Mertz delivering high. Benderson coming out at the last second. Contact there.
Riverhounds substitutions. Number 6, junior E2. And for number 22, Anthony Lopez Carrillo. Number 19, Edward Kizza. And for number 10, DZ Harmon.
So we got a couple substitutions. Edward Kizza coming in for Pittsburgh. Galila coming in right now for Maryland. Replaces Phillip Brown. So Brown's night is over and done with. '71st minute.
Number 6, Nate DeSantos in the game with the Riverhounds.
Nate DeSantos is also into the affair. Santos in for the hometown team. Kiza was there on a run asking for it. So for Bob Lee, brings in some of his regulars and see if they will ignite the offense in any kind of way.
Well, it's not just the 2 changes that he's made, but it's also the shift in personnel overall, because this is going to push Edward Kiza up to the 9 spot. Shawunmi will come to the outside left flank, which is really where we've seen him operate over the course of the season so far for the USL Championship squad in domestic play. Handball for Dos Santos. He'll come to the left back spot and push Blackstock out of his position. Whether or not he maintains him on the far side is a whole nother story. You wonder if he pushes him centrally and then Failing goes out to the right. That seems to be the direction they've gone so far. One of the great things about Bob Lilly as a manager, it's not just identifying maybe some of the lesser known names, if you will, but finding a way to exploit them in the best of ways out of their comfort zone.
Mertz. Espanyol. Nice play then, the breakup. Biasi. Watch out there with that contact in the far sideline. Failing tied up. Appears to be okay though. Filerman there almost pushing, Failing over the top turnbuckle. That would have been disastrous.
Just keep an eye at trickery for Robbie Mertz. Pittsburgh Riverhounds have set him up a couple of times. They went short once. Everything else has been quite direct. And although no options seem to be available, Nate DeSantos on that back post. Good left foot of his. Could come square if you wanted to, though a ton of bodies inside the 18 right now.
Failing's outside of it. This one played through, and that one headed away by Hogan. Not hit it flush. Perfectly dropped in like a bucket. '74th minute though, and if you are Maryland, you are loving to steal something in the closing minutes of this contest and walk away with an upset victory. Winner tonight moves on to the 4th round of the U.S. Open Cup. Loser goes back to the regular season festivities. And for Maryland, you know they'd love to exact some revenge, being shut out last year by Pittsburgh 2-0. Love to repay the favor. Yeah, the prize money, the accolades, the attention. Coaches, scouts, directors looking at these matchups. Garner with some contact right in front of him. Nothing called though. Fans, if you are enjoying this, make sure you dive deeper into the thrills of all the drama. This U.S. Open Cup continues tomorrow with coverage. Shawunmi trying to make it 1-0. Good job, though, by Sutton fighting it off. Santos gets taken down.
Good run by Shimwunmi. The problem is here is his head's down the entire way. If he picks it up, he'll recognize the fact that although Kiza, is on the near post, he's actually got Burke failing right at the top of the 6.
Bob Lilly talking to DeShields. Let's see what kind of delivery is offered here in the 76th minute. Five inside for Pittsburgh. Mertz working long, the header denied by Sutton. Unbelievable on his wall at point blank. That might be the save of the third round.
After the game, players will be signing autographs in the field. Stick around and meet the team. It's presented by
here.
King. Orthodontics, Pittsburgh's most confident smiles with locations in Wexford and Bridgeville.
Well, Maryland has
Visit them at King
bent,
Orthodontics.
but they have not broken yet. Sutton, the biggest reason for that, Espinal. He's working against Hogan. Double team comes, and Pittsburgh now with possession.
Regardless of what the result is tonight for the Maryland Bobcats, Alex Sutton, hats off to you, my friend, because your manager and all your compatriots around you are going to be very grateful for the effort put forth so far. Actually thought he was the one who got the touch on it, but instead, clearance on the line, my apologies. His hand, the way that he pushed himself out, saw that he overcommitted, but the recovery, thought the goalkeeper got to it.
Got to take a look at that. Mertz with wonderful service there. Blackstock here. Nice job of transitioning. Kiza. Dos Santos push this thing forward.
The Riverhounds take
with good
on the
position there
on the
against
road on
Shimwunmi.
April 29th at
Shots
7 p.m.
15-5 in favor of Pittsburgh.
And at Mike's Beer Bar. Meet us.
Expected
at
goals.
Mike's.
Pittsburgh's well over 1. Maryland not even close to a half. Mertz again, that service is pretty good as well. Kalistra was the one that got in front of it. Failing here. Nobody around. Santos will pick it up though. Mertz. Touch passing, but to the wrong team for failing. Pittsburgh still trying to apply the pressure here in the 80th minute. Kiza. Some space. One knocked around open net. Sutton came out. Bodies moving from left to right and then falling to the ground. Looks like we have another Maryland sub coming up in just a brief moment. First off, though, Robbie Mertz. This one played around, and Kizzo was the intended target, failing. Surveying outside, Blackstock. Move. Nice job by Pittsburgh. This one, show on me, and a touch, Kizza, and there we go. In the 81st minute, Pittsburgh finally has that goal. A little late game magic. Kizza off the sidelines on the board, and it's 1-0 Hounds.
It's textbook as well from the home squad. The ball all the way to the back stick. Shawunmi, it's perfect. He recognizes that even though he plays the first one, this is going to be about timing. Look at the head up. They don't force it. They recognize centrally they don't have the right numbers, and as you get Biasi in an advanced role, this is all you're trying to do. Float this thing to the back post. Let somebody else run underneath it. Now from there, you have to decide if you're Shawunmi. Are you going to be selfish or are you going to be smart? He chooses the latter. Little double back across, recognizes the fact that Kizza has reset his own positioning. No matter where this ball ends up, he gives himself an opportunity. More importantly, he's given Pittsburgh the lead.
A beautiful sequence for Pittsburgh, and it pays off. Kizza in the 81st minute. Shawunmi with the helper. And to your point, Devin, Biasi with a perfect setup. Just enough finesse, adequate amount of air. Biasi, Shawunmi, and Kizza makes it count. So 1-0 Pittsburgh with a late goal. And that hurts in the worst kind of way for Maryland because it played so well defensively, keeping the ball in front of them. Yeah, shots have occurred from Pittsburgh, but the dangerous situations and the flurries that the Hounds have had, they've been weathered by Maryland. Shots, though, are 19-5, so if you're looking at anything in this, Pittsburgh has certainly earned themselves the goal. We'll see if Maryland has any kind of counter to their game. Much like the first half, the second half of action here has been at a pretty good pace. So if you're curious in terms of stoppage time, don't know how much they'll be allotted. And a few substitutions for Maryland after that goal is scored. Madad came in. And now we got a couple here for Pittsburgh. Mertz's night is over with. Robbie played well in the evening. You see Mark Ibarra. Substitutions will come. You know, if you're Bob Lilly, you'd love to have this happen probably 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but if you're sitting on the 1-0 lead, you also give these guys a little bit longer of a run and a cushion. And now all of a sudden, Arturo Ordonez, you can positionally be looking at a change for the Riverhounds, moving into a back five. Defensively, close down some of the space that Maryland Bobcats had already started to move into. Now with the changes, inside 10 minutes to go for both sides. If you're Maryland, you can't open it up and run like you wanted to if you were Alex Cow with your changes. And if you're the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, don't go into your shell though here either, because you don't want to give up too much space in front of you, because they still possess the tacticians on the ball to help out the attacking threats that they've brought off the bench.
See the shots on target. 19 shots in all, though, for Pittsburgh in in this affair, just a 5 for Maryland.
Make sure you show up on Family Fiesta tonight at Highmark Stadium.
I'm sure they've got the better talent, but Maryland has not been outclassed by any stretch of the imagination. They played well against Pittsburgh. At least defensively, they haven't thrown much towards Gardner at all. We have about 5 minutes, though, to put a dent into this deficit. Biasi. So Kiz's goal in the 81st minute. Showing me with the helper. Biasi was the one that set it up from the outside. Now an opportunity for Pittsburgh, something they haven't done since 2019. Advance to the 4th round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Looks like we'll have a couple more substitutions in our next stoppage. Ibarra. Santos wants it back. Blackstock has it now. Santos surveying, blindly passes it through. Nobody around. Black and gold. Spinall. Darwin splits 2 defenders, can't get past the 3rd. Heads up play by Ordonez. It's a wipeout play for him. Neither team played in the first round. Maryland a 2nd round victory over Ocean City, 3-2 in overtime. Pittsburgh advanced to the 3rd round via forfeit from Rochester.
Need a new ball, too. New players for the subs. That ball, though,
A little wet.
going for a nice little swim. Cool off after the 88-minute shift. And Manuel Gonzalez, similar conversation.
Riverhounds substitution. Number 18, Anders Bordoy. In for number 7.
Anders Bordoy. He comes into the affair.
Now let's get up for Anders.
See the scores at the top left. New England still holding that 1-0 advantage over Hartford.
Yeah, by the way, just a heads up, as you say it, Antoine Openo scores. It's 1-1.
Oh, wow.
You got any bedtime plans?
No, not at all.
A little nightcap somewhere, watch the rest of that match?
You can.
I'm not necessarily sure Bruce Arena is going to be happy about that one. There's still plenty of time, though.
Favorite watering hole of Devin Kerr looms. Big thanks to our entire crew tonight, courtesy of Bleacher Report. As we're live here from Highmark Stadium. Pittsburgh trying to hold serve and advance to the 4th round. First time they'll do it since 2019. 2nd time in 2 years that they'll eliminate Maryland. Bobcats again don't have their 3rd league game until May 13th against Flower City Union. Or for Pittsburgh, they also have a date with Indy 11 on the road this weekend on the 29th. Doyo's just trying to chew up some clock, and he does. Failing off the giveaway. Bordoy, head up, tries to put that one through, failing, wide open net, and he scores! Well, Bordoy was the one that set that up, failing though with a cherry on top, and this game's over. Pittsburgh's gonna move on to round number 4. It's 2-0.
You love stuff like this from Anders Bordoy because just 18 years of age, but youthful exuberance takes over. Attacking players, go explore yourselves, and he's 18 yards out, recognizes he's got a little window here. What's the worst that can go wrong? Sprays it wide up over the top. You're sitting on a 1-0 lead. The strike from distance into the bottom corner is perfect, but it makes Alex Sutton make a decision. Because it's hit with such venom, he's got to push it away, and then, because of the high line, defensively he's let down. Burke failing with a great follow-up, and that's all she wrote.
Scored by number 16.
Good confidence builder, too. And that is exactly what you said, Devin. Some players are shooting to score. Bordoy right there shooting more as a pass. Ricochet to failing, and he pockets that. 2-0. So any thoughts of a Maryland equalizer are quickly dispersed. 19 shots to 5. These two teams got together last year, ended in the same score. Kizza was looking for more. Possession, though, is all for Pittsburgh, 58-42. Failing. Scoring here today, second goal of the year. Job by failing. He's played inspired tonight. You see the score at the top left. New England and Hartford are now level at 1 apiece. And Minnesota, who was tied with Detroit 1-1, just got word off the hot wire that they have just scored again. So now it's 2-1. Failing. Crosses that one through, and Kizza can't have a perfect night, can he?
Don't tell that to his manager, Todd Lilly. It's a good ball from Marky Barra. He's got a ton of space at the top. You could have turned it if you wanted to. Instead, he recognizes he does have the easy route, and Burke failing over the shoulder. And then Edward Kizza could have had a cup of tea on the back post with the amount of space and time he had.
Final moments of this contest. The better team is going to win here tonight. No upset in the cards for Maryland. Bobcats have nothing to hang their head about, but nevertheless just outmanned, outgunned here this evening. So Bob Lilly not using his regular offensive weapons, bringing them in late into this affair, and it paid off. Nice stop there by Garner, and that'll be that. Alex Parent, lead official tonight, looking at his watch. Garner's only been tested on a few different occasions. And Alex Parent blows the final whistle and says, gentlemen, that will be that. So it's on to round number 4 for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They did take care of the Maryland Bobcats tonight. Final score here tonight at Highmark Stadium. Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2, Maryland Bobcats nothing. Well, Devin, it took us a while to get there, but we eventually did in full time.
81 minutes and a couple of substitutions later. Shawunmi, ball to the back post. Can't link up the first time, but again, watch as the ball makes its way back around. That little touch right there, beautifully done by Langston Blackstock. Sees the overcrowded box, that there's space on the right-hand side. As the run develops, you just forget about the runner. Mansour was actually the player who cleared it off just a few minutes prior, but he forgets about the mark. And a really good job here, just drifting all the way to the backside for Shawunmi. Unselfishly heads it square back across, and Edward Kizza has the opener. It would take another 10 minutes for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds to get back on the board, but once again, when they want to be, they can move the ball quite impressively. Anders Bordoy, the young academy product, second in team history to sign to the professional team. Strike from distance, why not? Have a go, challenge the goalkeeper. Worst case, he spills it up. Exactly what happens. Burke failing his second on the season, second of the night for the Riverhounds, and they're on to the fourth round.
And they run on to the second ever endeavor between the two squads, going a perfect 2 for 2. Both games decided by a 2-goal differential. See the goals, the shot total 22-6. Possession, it all goes to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They dominated this thing from wire to wire.
If you were Maryland when you came in, you shouldn't have felt like we were going to go into the Lions' den and be the best team on the night. You didn't have to be, though.
Yeah.
You just had to find a way to be special in certain moments, and that didn't happen. That's okay. They had opportunities. Obviously, the better ones were certainly for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but they were able to challenge the goalkeeper in a couple of special spots. They just couldn't put it away. Their dreams of an Open Cup run will have to wait till next year.
So Kizza and failing to do the damage here tonight for Pittsburgh. But again, fans, do not forget, plenty of U.S. Open Cup action tomorrow. You can also follow us on social media, on Twitter and also on Instagram at Open Cup, and also on Facebook at Official Open Cup as well. Wire-to-wire action courtesy of Bleacher Report, also YouTube. Got the draws coming up on Thursday as well. Devin, some final thoughts on what we have here and also what's in front of us?
Yeah, just an opportunity. Listen, we have the 8 matches tonight, 16 tomorrow. Go enjoy it. Have fun, because you get 2 goals here. You got a couple upper and lower division teams going at it around the rest of the league. Throw it on the multi-viewer. Have some fun. This is what the Open Cup is all about.
Sounds like a plan. For my broadcast partner, Devin Kerr, I'm David Gascon saying so long from Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup continues. Pittsburgh moves on to round number 4. They defeat Maryland by a final score of 2-0. Have a wonderful Tuesday night, everyone. So long.